So how can the food retailers be held to account when it comes to food pricing? In 2006, a consortium of food manufacturers, including Tiger Brands, Pioneer Foods and Premier Foods, rigged the price of bread. The Competition Commission keeps a close eye on the cost of basic foods and whether they are market-related. James Hodge is the Chief Economist at the Competition Commission of South Africa and is joining us now here on the Midday View. Mr. Hodge, good afternoon. Thank you very much. I mean, everywhere you look, you are hearing that food prices have gone up. We're just out there in the streets talking to various South Africans. But also I've seen I'm sure you have as well, the Household Affordability Index, which is produced by the Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group, showing that food inflation has really gone up. And since the lockdown last year, things are not improving. The Competition Commission sense of what is happening, what are you seeing?
Well, I think we're seeing the same thing. So there have been sporadic instances of what we call price gouging. So in the first wave, we had panic buying and some unscrupulous retailers put up the price of essentials. And in the second wave, we saw ginger and garlic in particular also see very high pricing. And there were problems there in the market, and we investigated and prosecuted. But I think the general observation is that food prices are climbing much higher. And importantly, I think, is that the nutritional food basket has gone up by almost 10% in the last year. And that's in the context where families have less income and it's less affordable. And it's a big concern because families then have to resort to staples which are not nutritionally rich, and that has big health implications, especially in a pandemic. So it is concerning to us what we're seeing. And a lot of it is sort of, I suppose, problems in the market that we've seen for a while now that are coming to the fore in a pandemic that may require a more concerted response to fix going forward if we're going to bring food inflation under control.
Yeah, you've mentioned two products, ginger and garlic, I guess, because of the pandemic. People thought, because there were all kinds of stories about what you need to take to boost your immunity. Are there other products that you as a Competition Commission have sort of been looking into or people have written to you about? I'm asking this because that Household Affordability Index by the Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group focuses on 44 core food items that are frequently bought by lower income families.
Yeah, and we've been tracking, a similar basket. So we look at fresh produce, which often contributes to nutrition. So your top items such as from potatoes, onions, tomatoes, but also butternut, your spices and other important fruits that households will use. And then your classic proteins, your chicken, beef, lamb, canned tuna, etc., and eggs, milk. So we look at a range of baskets, and I suppose what we're tending to see across a number of these is probably your proteins are contributing a lot to the nutritional basket increase, and some of your fresh produce items. And in those, I suppose the trend we've seen over time that has maybe accelerated under COVID is there is a growing gap between the farm gate price and the retail shelf price. So in something like potatoes, it can be 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder what's driving that. My colleague Devin Murugan from the Money Desk was going to be talking to us earlier about cooking oil, for example. And according to the same Household Affordability Index, it's gone up like by 6% at least. And I mean, you need cooking oil. I mean, for whatever you are trying to prepare, even in every household needs that. Are you as a commission concerned that there could be other factors driving this that need investigation? I mean, is there fair competition in the market around food items?
Look, we definitely think that more investigation is needed, and we are even contemplating whether we need an inquiry into some of these food markets and value chains. So we are seeing, in general, what happens is there's a lot more market power at the retailer side, the processor side, and the inputs to farmers. And that puts farmers in a bit of a squeeze, which affects our overall supply. But even some of the smaller markets, your fresh produce markets that are run by municipalities, we're seeing big price disparities between, say, Johannesburg and Mthatha, where it may be a 40% difference in the price of onions, and a lot more volatility. So something is not working in these markets. we think that certainly, the exclusive leases that existed for supermarkets in the past has probably exacerbated the situation. We don't have as much competition, localized competition in most locations, and the deals we've struck in the last year to end those leases should hopefully bring some relief there. But it's not going to be overnight. We need to promote more small-scale growers, which is something we're also seeing in these markets, that they're not facilitating small-scale farmers, urban farmers that can, in fact, shorten the supply chain, bring in cheaper products into communities, and address some of the price inflation. I mean, you mentioned sort of 6%, 7%, I said 10% on nutritional food. That may not sound much, but in a pandemic when people are losing their jobs and income, it's a massive effect.
Yeah,
that's why there's a big concern.
That's exactly the point.
Non-nutritional food.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. I mean, today is World Hunger Day, and we know that millions of South Africans go to bed hungry every day. Now, with unemployment, as you've said, and budgets are tight, I mean, money is too tight, as the song goes. It's really a reality of millions of us in South Africa. And even if it goes up by 2 cents, it's a lot of money.
No, it is. And there are also situations where kids were getting meals at school and now not attending every day because of the pandemic. So there's a real concern about the nutrition of many poorer households. And I think that they're going to have to turn to staples which don't provide minimum energy requirements, but not the nutritional needs. And that is going to have an effect on society. So it is something that requires some urgent action. We need to fix some of these food markets. Sometimes a pandemic or shock like this sort of highlights the problems that were underneath, lying dormant before, but now come to the fore. And so we have noticed this, and some can be fixed with an investigation, a price gouging, prosecution, but others are just more underlying problems we need to start to address. Because even, maize, we've had a bumper crop, but the price has gone up. And the reason is it's linked to international prices. So droughts and problems elsewhere in the world are driving up prices domestically, even though we have a bumper crop and a surplus. So these are the sort of market links that contribute to this inflation. But it is something we need to get under control.
I agree. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Hodge, Chief Economist there from the Competition Commission, saying that there needs to be an investigation somehow of the food prices that keep on going up and up year on year, and things, and especially for some basic products, some core food items, it's really been a steep hike that we've seen in some of those products. Well, we'll continue our conversation on the pressure of spiking food prices on the lives of South Africans.